What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you on to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. And I'm coming through with another top 10 MC session just for you. And as you can tell by the title, today's top 10 MC session is going to focus on who but else? Redman, aka Reggie Noble, aka Funk Doc, aka Funk Doctor, aka Mr. Funk Doctor Spot. Yes, indeed. My number eight favorite MC of all time. Couldn't wait to get to this one. So when it's time to get down to business, bar business, Redman got that and then some. There's no one like him, y'all. And I got a lot of stuff that I want to share with you all. And even though my intro here is going to be shorter than most of my previous sessions, rest assured that, even though Redman comes in number eight on my top 10 list, he still got the goods. He's still one of the all-time greats. And when it's all said and done in this world, his place in hip hop, is all but cemented. I think the actual time that I really heard Redman for the first time probably was either on Headbanger, which was on the EPMD Business Never Personal album. It was either that or Time for Some Action. I honestly can't recall which one, but let's just say that I first heard Redman before his first album came out. So it either was Hardcore, Time for Some Action, or Headbanger. Had to been one of them. So this session is going to focus on him, is going to focus on his solo work from the What The album all the way up to the Reggie album. So I'm going to focus on that. Now, just like I said in the Method Man session, I'm not going to talk about Blackout 1 and Blackout 2 on this session. I'm going to save both of those for a separate video. With all that being said, y'all, we're going to go right into it. I'm going to go ahead and get my screen shared. This is dedicated to the one and only Redman, Reggie Noble. With all that being said, we're going to go right into this one, starting with the 1992 debut, What The album. Released on September 22nd, 1992. All songs produced by Redman and Erick Sermon. Yeah, as Redman would once say back in the 90s, no, he didn't say this in the 90s. This was in the early 2000s. He said that he came in with Erick Sermon, and that's his man. And they've pretty much been friends ever since. And I'm pretty sure Parrish Smith had a part to play in that too. But as far as Redman is concerned, if not for Erick Sermon and to a certain extent Parrish Smith, then we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation, and somebody else would be in my top 10 right now. And also, I own all of these albums on CD with the exception of one. And I'm going to get to that shortly towards the end. So let's go ahead and get into it. So here we go, y'all. First highlight from the debut. The first highlight is Time for Some Action. Y'all know what it is. Talk about one hell of a classic opener. And whoever made the decision to start the album with this deserves a lot of credit. And this is after the Dr. Travis intro, might I add. Most Redman songs will fall under the simple yet effective practice of dope beats and rhymes. And this song is one of them. Back Bow, well-timed Cypress Hill sample from How Could I Just Kill a Man? Great stuff here. Definitely a classic and a great way to start the album after words from Dr. Travis. All right, so keeping on, we got, Make My Funk the P-Funk. Yeah, the song sort of ends abruptly, but it's still good. It's definitely the funk, and it's definitely still good enough for a 4 out of 5 rating. And the classics continue. So we got So Rough. A lot of Red songs will be aptly appropriately titled as well, and this song is a good example of a nice beat with familiar samples courtesy of Parliament. Red is nice on the mic, and he also has a sense of humor, but still tight with his. More on this later. You see, it's already being said right here. All right, so Rated R, this is a warning. Yep. Red might have named this song Rated R. He's anything but restricted on this song. Most of his lines make you laugh here, but he's still hardcore with his lyrics and delivery, and that comes across clearly. I'm Rated R, this is a warning. No question. Okay. Watch Your Nuggets featuring Erick Sermon. I love this joint. Over another nice Parliament sample, courtesy of Atomic Dog. This is more dopeness. I still can't help but laugh at Sermon singing in the middle. Also, Red's verse is so humorously dope. 5 out of 5. Okay, let me show y'all what I'm talking about. Okay, so there's a point when Erick Sermon was like, so Eric, My ears are ringing. I can hear some girls singing. Hey, Eric Sermon. Hey. Uh. And longtime fans will remember that Tupac sampled that in Temptations from the Me Against the World album. Y'all know what it is. And Redman, yo, I'm Reggie Noble. Man, I'm feeling kind of so-so. I don't get like Toto, make Rudolph nose blow. Bite out of sight with the type of hype that make you say, oh, that don't mind. And y'all know I'm doing the JJ pose up in here. That line makes me laugh every single time I hear it because it's so funny. And of course, I laugh when I do the JJ thing along with it. Man, great stuff. Love this song. All right, jam for you. The dopeness continues, complete with more nice samples, courtesy of guys. Teddy's Jam, 5 out of 5 for that one. Then we get to the next single, Blow Your Mind. Press rewind, never have it blown your mind. Y'all know what it is. This is another one of Red's most memorable songs. Still holds up today. I love that Got Band sample from Outstanding 2. 5 out of 5. Definitely a classic. Now, normally I wouldn't put a skit as a highlight, but I just wanted to highlight this one here in particular. Now, this one is Funky Uncles. Now, what I said here is that Red starts a trend with the hilarious skits that will be a focal point of his albums, almost as much as the music, but not more than that. Then I turned back around and said, well, not necessarily a focal point, but you went into his albums anticipating how silly the skits would be, and that would be a staple on his albums going forward. I would say all the way up to what? Malpractice, I think, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. All right, so then we go into Redman meets Reggie Noble. The title says it all, and it's rather interesting. We don't see this type of creativity in hip hop anymore. So 4.5 out of 5 for that, probably because of how short the song was. Then we go to the next single, Tonight's the Night, another one of Red's memorable songs. It's a classic, and again, it's another one of my favorites by him. The classic samples came courtesy of the Mary Jane Girls, All Night Long, the radios, Tonight's the Night. Now turn the volume up a notch and watch the bump, make your speakers pump. Y'all know what it is. I mean, classic. Love this song too, y'all. Next up, we got the Blow Your Mind remix. Not as dope as the original, but still very good. I give that 4.5 out of 5. I'm bad. Yo, word to the mother. Redman said, my song still pumps even though it's not mastered, bitch. I said, I kind of look at this as an unofficial continuation of Rated R, and it's just as dope. Next up, we got How to Roll a Blunt, which was co-produced by Pete Rock. And I said here, like you need to know what this song is about. All the smokers can relate to this one, 4 out of 5. All right, and then the next highlight, we definitely go to the first part of the Superman Lover installment, or should I say the Superman Lover series, which was a great series. And we're going to be talking about that a lot during this session too. So he said, I smoke mad niggas, so the hell with cigarettes. Okay. And so this will be the first part in the Superman Lover series, and it serves as one hell of an introduction, 5 out of 5. All right. So if it seemed like it was fast-paced, it was fast-paced because, I mean, you know, the words that I mentioned here, you know, it speaks for itself, just like the songs speak for themselves as well, you know. And plus, you know, I'm not including the skits either. So that's probably why it was fast-paced. But we can get to my thoughts because I got another piece of content that I want to share as well. I said that I like this album more and more each time I listen to it, even though it's been part of my collection for years. Not only is the production a nice mix of hip hop and classic R&B and soul and funk samples, but Redman is also on point when he's on the mic, combining hardcore rough rhymes with an unmatched sense of humor. He makes you laugh most of the time, but make no mistake about it, there's no one like him when he's flowing. And this debut is a prime example of that. Straight classic, and of course, it still holds up today. 5 stars. All right. Now, speaking of which, we're not done with this album because what I'm holding in my hand right now is a copy of the Source magazine. This one was from November 1992, and it had Dr. Dre on the front. We're going to take a look at this one because this one has a review of Redman's What the Album. They gave it 4.5 mics, and this was done by Matty C. So I'm definitely going to read this verbatim right here. This is what it says. Squad strikes again with their most powerful blow yet. First came Das Effects and then K Solo and EPMD. Now the Funkadelic Rebel steps up with an LP to mush all competition dead in the grill. You might remember Redman from EPMD's last album on Hardcore, and you would no doubt remember his all-star appearance, or should I say his all-star performance as the cleanup man on this year's EPMD Posse Cut Headbanger. Now, I'm assuming that at the time that this came out, either the Business Never Personal album didn't come out or they hadn't reviewed it. And I don't even think they did review it in the source. But let's keep it moving. Since then, Redman has been busy rocking rough rounds from Newark, his hometown, to Brentwood, Long Island, home of EPMD. Live Redman freestyle tapes have been circulating throughout the underground for the past year, making this one of the most anticipated albums of '92. And believe me, he lives up to all expectations. Produced by Eric Sermon, the Funk Beat one. The tracks stink funkier than Biz Marquis' armpits. Wow. A lot of the loops might sound like the same old samples, P-Funk, Zap, James Brown, but once you stick that funk in the trunk, the bottom comes alive and everything sounds brand new. Standout tracks include Time for Some Action with B-Real's line from Killer Man as the hook, How to Roll a Blunt, a Pete Rock produced old school sleepover, The Funk, one short verse over massive low ends, and Tonight's the Night, some punk smooth shit turned deadly. More than anything, what you will know after hearing this album is that Redman, the niggerish one, is no ass on the mic. Not only has he mastered the laid-back homicidal flow, but he can also have you picking yourself up off the floor from his hysterical punchlines. I told you, gems like Rated R, Superman Lover, and Watch Your Nuggets, featuring the E-Double's display of rhymes and non-singing talents, exemplify his blunt delivery. Scoop this, Redman is milk like two tits. Yeah. A head like me could have done without the album's many skits. Okay, I get it. After about the third listen, they become strictly fast forward material, save it for the video. But besides that, you can pretty much leave that button alone on this record. Make way for the new funk material. Amen. You know, that was a good review right there. So yeah, so they initially gave it 4.5 mics. I give it 5 stars. Skits don't hurt that. All right, so we're gonna continue on. There's a Dark Side. Now, this came out November 22nd, 1994. This came out 1 week after Method Man's Tikal. Think about that for a minute, y'all. With all that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, starting with the highlights, after Dr. Travis comes through and let us know what's going on and what they expect, we go right into this highlight. Bob Your Head to This, produced by Reggie Noble and Rockwilder. And yeah, Rockwilder starts, you know, he was down with Redman, you know, around this time, and you know, they would collaborate here and keeping on with this Redman. And I don't have to be a specialist to get dumb. Oh yeah. And now when I'm thinking about this song, I should have mentioned this when I was talking about the debut, you know. So fuck what you heard, what the heard, because I backfly my grandma, because I came to girl straight from New Jersey. Oh yeah. I said that it was a good decision to start the album with this banger. And if you weren't bobbing your head to this, you were listening to the wrong song. With that being said, Red wastes no time with the dopeness on the mic. 5 out of 5. And yeah, you can say the goodness too. And we're gonna have more on the goodness in the rest of the session. Next up, we got Journey Through the Dark Side, produced by Reggie Noble, in this case Redman, co-produced by Eric Sermon. This was a dope-ass lyrical journey through the dark side, and equally dope follow-up to Bob Your Head to This. 5 out of 5 for that one. The dopeness continues with The Journey, produced by Red. Look at the title of the previous song, then look at this one. Very interesting to say the least. Plus, he was a little more relaxed on this song. 4 out of 5. Then we get to this banger, produced by Eric Sermon and co-produced by Red, 1,000,001 Buddha Spots. Now, I think you begin to notice some level of interesting creativity here, because some songs says produced by Reggie Noble, others says produced by Redman, but just bear with me on this one. Now, this one right here, 1,000,001 Buddha Spots or 1,000,001 Blunt Spots. Throw this joint on in your ride, turn the volume up, and not only will you find yourself bobbing your head, but it seriously knocks. Red drops a few funny lines here, but it's still incredibly dope. 5 out of 5. Neurotic, produced by Rockwilder, co-produced by Redman. Now, take a look at these bars. He said, talking shit about me behind my back when I'm driving by slowly, saying I'm this and that. What have y'all punks don't even know me. Now, just for that, I let your girl suck my dick from the back and let your moms give me cornrows on my crack because I'm nasty like that. Oh my God, man. And like I said here, I still laugh at the lines above. Every time I listen to this one, aside from the humorous lines from Redhead, I feel the most notable part of this song is in the middle where he stops the record, proceeds to a quote unquote impromptu audio sex act, then jump back on the mic. Now, that was unheard of in 1994, and I doubt it's been tried since, even by Red himself. 4 out of 5. Okay. Next up, we get Cosmic Slop featuring Eric Sermon and Keith Murray, produced by Reggie Noble, co-produced by Eric Sermon. To this day, I still have no idea what a Cosmic Slop is, and I'm gonna have something to say about that pretty soon, right now when I finish this. Other than that, we have the 3 members of what will come to be known as the Def Squad in full force. All 3 men have dope verses, but I feel Keith Murray may have stolen the show on this one. 4 out of 5. Now, only a little bit of research, I came across this. So basically, the song Cosmic Slop shares its name with the 1973 Funkadelic album. Now, that's where that comes from. The album cover features Redman buried in the ground up to his neck, which was a reference to the cover of Funkadelic's 1971 album Maggot Brain. All right, so then we go to the next highlight, Rockefeller, produced by Reggie Noble. Are there any more imitators in the house? There are no. Bust like NBA Jam so you can have Chicago. No question. So one of the more underrated Redman joints right here, dope all around. RP to Redman Rockefeller. 5 out of 5 for this one. Green Island. Again, Red is so hilariously dope here, including a rather funny verse by Uncle Quilly towards the end, which I have to quote here. Man, them alter egos. So not only did he have silly skits, but he had alter egos, Uncle Quilly, Dr. Travis, the man was creative, okay? Humorous, creative, but still nice with it. That's what I liked about him so much, man. And again, like I said before, he makes you laugh, but at the same time, you can never deny those skills on the mic. 4.5 out of 5. All right, then we got the next highlight, which is Can't Wait, excuse that typo, produced by Eric Sermon, co-produced by Redman. Over a nicely used, unmistakable Mary Jane Girl sample all night long. This is classic Redman, one of his most popular songs overall. And the ending of this song is one of many things that sums up Redman in one fell swoop. Check this out, y'all. Word to Dan Tampilla and Cool B, switching speeds like Bruce Lee riding the Fuji in the movie. I drop it on the 1, fuck the 2, 3, funk it like a box of coochies on loose leaf. He said, yo. I said, switching up speeds. Now, see, I know this even without looking at the screen, but it's okay. I said, switching up speeds like Bruce Lee riding a Fuji in a movie. I be saying some shit. Now, if you don't get it, laugh now and then figure shit out. And then figure the shit out when you get home. Oh my God. And then we go into the next one. What we're gonna do right here is go back. And yeah, 5 out of 5 for Can't Wait. So when I come around, so produced by Eric Sermon, co-produced by Reggie Noble, the dopeness continues. Kind of hard to follow Can't Wait though. So that's 4 out of 5. All right. Then we got the second part of the Superman Lover series. This is Superman Lover 2. The Adventures of Superman Lover continue with this second part of this hilariously dope series. 5 out of 5. And then we close things with Tonight's the Night reprise, produced by Reggie Noble. And I said, what a dope reprise closing this was. Almost sounded like it could have made what the album. 4 out of 5. I would say this. Really and truly, there's no low point on this album, but I do want to say this. Okay, now we run New York. Now, if you ask me, they should have included the Rockefeller remix on this album as a bonus track instead of putting this on here. Now, this is what I said. I said that Red does his thing here as usual. However, with all due respect, Hurricane G adds nothing to this song. The effort was there, but lyrically, she wasn't saying much. Now, I'm not going to speak more on Hurricane G here. I'm going to save this for another part in the session because I want to make another point about her. My thoughts, well, I've always seen why at one point I considered I consider this to be my favorite Redman album. And trust me, that's going to be challenged when I get to Muddy Waters next. I can already tell you that I'm going with the full Monty on this one, rewarding with the 5-star rating. The dark vibe that Redman went for on this album worked. Even though it may have turned a few fans off, I doubt it after all these years. He embraced a new direction for his sophomore album, and it was a smart move to not remain with it for the rest of his career because chances are it would have grown tiresome very quickly. I can also honestly say that this may be his most creative album, probably the closest thing to a concept album we will perhaps ever see in his discography. Of course, the dope beats and rhymes and the well-timed humor were all still present, but there's a creative energy on this album that you don't get on his debut or the albums that follow, and that's what makes it so good. The numbers didn't lie, as the album was certified gold in January of 1995, some 2 months after its release. Overall, 5 stars for this album. Is still dope as hell and has aged very well. And then I came back as of December 16, 2023. I've gone back on this rating again, awarding it 4.5 stars. And that's where I remain today. And speaking of which, the Source magazine, I have another one in my hand right here. This was the January 1995 issue, basically the year-end review for 1994. It has Mary J. Blige on the front. They did a review of the There's a Dark Side album. Interestingly enough, they gave it 4 mics. They also gave Scarface the Diary 4 mics, but then in their 150th issue, they went back and gave the Diary five mics. This review compiled by Robert Cheeks. I'm going to read this one verbatim. It says, There's a Dark Side is an explosion from the funkadelic devil that attempts to capture the suspended time between life and death. To do this, Redman picks up where he left off with his debut and unleashes more hot cosmic slop to relieve us from the same monotonous funk everyone claims to possess. The creepy, sinister sounding, neurotic one of Redman's many Buddha sessions on wax sets the tone as Mr. Noble expresses his inner feelings on the music industry. Lyrics remain the focus on the unorthodox Green Allen as the multiple personality technique perfected on last album's Redman versus Reggie Noble is utilized. This time, Uncle Quilly, another Redman personality, joins the other two in a quest for greenbacks, and Redman proves that the nearly perfect skills that made him famous can be improved upon. The album really shines on Cosmic Slop, which features Eric Sermon and Keith Murray on a lyrical tour through the cosmos. Here's where I think I'm going to disagree. The hostile We Were in New York also stands out as Redman and Hurricane G create lyrical havoc by bringing true East Coast flavor from a male-female perspective. Okay, I get that, but still, Hurricane G brought nothing to that song. Like I said, Redman did his thing, but Hurricane G, she said nothing at all. There's also a follow-up on the adventures of the ghetto super nigga as Superman Lover 2 details a wild sexcapade in which our hero is almost killed, Basic Instinct style. Then he closes it by saying, there is definitely a piece of art which causes one to suppress reality as the mind travels into the mysterious world of the unknown. Redman is without a doubt on some old next shit, coming with the same attitude that blew your mind on the last LP. And I'm going to make another comment on that too. Most artists are afraid to experiment or express views that are not the norm, but on There's a Dark Side, Redman challenges himself to shatter the limits of lyrical, mental, and funkadelic illness, and he succeeds. That was a good review. I didn't agree with what he said about We Run New York, but it still was a good review, y'all. The next part that I'm going to get into before we get to Muddy Waters now, this was an interview that he did with hiphopdx.com back in December of 2010 or December 10th, 2010 to be exact. Now this says, I'm reading verbatim, it says, another element of Redman's future is a sequel to his beloved 1996 album Muddy Waters. We're going to get to that. Hip Hop DX asked Redman why that album, as his first 3 albums, what the album There's a Dark Side and Muddy Waters are often debated among fans as their favorite, because Muddy Waters was one of my pivotal albums in branching from that darkness of There's a Dark Side, explained a Candid Red. Now, here's the interesting part. You know, it was interesting when I first read it, and it's interesting now. He says, I was doing a lot of drugs on There's a Dark Side. I have chicks that come up to me and say, yo, There's a Dark Side is my favorite fucking album ever. I swear, I have not played There's a Dark Side damn near since I did it. Seriously, I was so lost. I was so fucked up doing that album. Looking back to the 1994, excuse me, looking back to the November of 1994 album that lived up to its name. Okay, they ain't had to say all that. Redman was asked if the musical outcome was intended during the creative process. Come on, I produced some of that shit on that album. I was wilding back then. I ain't care. I was wilding. Yeah, we could tell, but it worked. And then in another interesting thing, he did a versus with Method Man, which I did see. I didn't watch it when it aired, but I looked at it like months after the fact. This versus was on April 20th, 2021. And it was during that versus when he did Can't Wait, which was the first time that he did that since the single dropped in 1995. Think about that for a minute. He previously never performed anything from that album, but he finally did it doing that versus with Method Man. That's very interesting, y'all. From There's a Dark Side, we go directly into album number 3, Muddy Waters, released on December 10th, 1996. All right, so we're going to start with the highlights. Is He For Really Can Be? Shout out to Helter Skelter. And OGC, Le Fleur Escoshka, which also came out that same year. Well, Red certainly is, and that question is answered in this brief banging opener, 4.5 out of 5. And I think that's why I give it that rating, because it was so short, but it's still a dope song. All right, the highlights continue. Rock the Spot, produced by Eric Sermon and Tyrone Fife, another banger, as Red does indeed rock the spot over a dope beat from Mr. Sermon and Mr. Fife. 5 out of 5 for that. Normally, I don't include interludes as highlights, but I really like this one, this welcome interlude. And I note here, although it's an interlude, Eric's beat is dope as hell. Provide another welcome from Red to the Muddy Waters extravaganza. All right, next up, Case Closed, featuring Rockwilder and Napalm. So as you can see, Rockwilder was still, making his presence felt as far as Redman was concerned. Dope, fast-paced song. Red, Rock, and Napalm hold things down nicely on the mic. 5 out of 5. And next up, next highlight, Pick It Up, produced by Eric Sermon. You remind me of school on a Sunday, no class. If you see a chick passed out on the ground, what you gonna do? Pick her up, pick her up. I mean, simple but effective, like I note here, and it didn't take away from the song at all. It's another banger. 5 out of 5. Then we got Smoke Buddha. Hey, yo, I got a slight problem. I smoke weed too much. Well, that tells you all you need to know right there on this Reggie Noble produced banger. Definitely took his influence from Mary Jane, Rick James. Rest in peace. And I also note that the fellow smokers, they still love this one. I'm sure they do. 4 out of 5 for that one. Then we go to Whatever Man. This one, Bring Back Memories, produced by Eric Sermon. The hook to this one is one of the most memorable hooks ever. Certainly brings back memories from 97, as well as the Blues Brothers influence video with Method Man. Like, you need to ask whether this is a classic banger or not. 5 out of 5. We on fire tonight, and the place is looking steamy. As we proceed, okay, this joint was produced by Eric Sermon. The dopeness continued from Mr. Noble. 4 out of 5 for that. Next up, we got Do What You Feel, featuring Method Man, produced by Pras and T-Bass. Yes, Pras from the Fugees was one of the driving forces behind the boards on this classic, which is the second Red and Meth collabo after 1995's How High, if I'm not mistaken. I've always said that Red and Meth have the best chemistry on the mic, and this is one of many examples. Also, Red's last verse was one of the best verses from 96 to 97. 5 out of 5 for this one, definitely. Next highlight is Like That, My Big Brother, featuring K Solo, produced by Reggie Noble. A memorable hip-hop tag team track with Red and K Solo, simply dope. I've always felt this was K Solo's best performance on the mic ever, and it was. 5 out of 5 for this one. Continuing on with the highlights here, we got The Bump. And again, so turn the volume up a notch and watch the bump. Bump, make your speakers pump. Come on. This Eric Sermon produced cut does bump, and Red supplies the lyrical heat. 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5 again for the next one, also produced by Eric Sermon. Yes, y'all. I wouldn't leave a trace if I died and police chalked me. I'm an around-the-clock lyricist. I sleep in my work boots, no doubt. This tight song is one of my top 10 favorite Redman songs. I absolutely love the lyrics, the beat, and the nicely sequenced Common sample from I Used to Love Her. Speaking of Common, he definitely would have fit as a guest on this one. Yeah, I still think so. Let me know what y'all think. Do you think that Common would have been a good guest on this particular song right here, even with his samples? So 5 out of 5. Then we go into the next part of the Superman Lover series, which is part 3. Well, your man that he's out of town flipping biscuits. And I'm gonna say more on that one. Trust me. And this was produced by Eric Sermon and Reggie Noble. Okay, now had to break this one down. I know here after a lyrical introductory first portion, we head right into the story, of course, detailing Red's adventures, if you will, with the opposite sex, and it's about what you would expect. Towards the end, he discovers that the woman he's with is none other than Jane, the same Jane from the first 4 EPMD albums. Not sure why Red didn't notice this in the beginning, but we'll move on. After some quote unquote wrestling, she informs him that her man has arrived home, and from there, Red wastes no time in jacking the dude up practically before he even gets in the house. And it turns out to be Paris Smith, the other half of EPMD. When I first heard this, I was a bit surprised at this ending, and I never would have guessed it was Parrish. And one last thing, James said he was out of town flipping biscuits. Well, that certainly was a lie because there was no way in hell PMD was at some random spot flipping biscuits. Just saying, you know. So I had to go a little bit deeper into that one, even though it's just a song. So 5 out of 5 for that one. And again, that Superman Lover series is hilarious, but it's still dope. And next we close out the next two with the next two highlights. We got Rolling, produced by Eric Sermon. The bangers certainly do not stop at all as we're rolling towards the album's finale. 4 out of 5. And the album's finale is The Ill Out, produced by Eric Sermon, featuring Keith Murray and Jamal. And I noted that this is not called The Ill Out for nothing. All 3 MCs spit fire over a thumping Eric Sermon beat. Mr. Murray almost steals the show with his verse. We had an awesome opener and closer on this album. 5 out of 5. No question about that. All right. Give me a second, y'all. All right. So then my thoughts overall for starters, this album is 5 stars. There's no disputing that. Literally everything was on point. The lyrics, production, guest appearances, and even the skits. And I can't find a flaw anywhere after all these years. Compared to There's a Dark Side, Red had toned down the humor a bit, but it's still there in a few spots. You could tell he just focused on his lyrical skills, and that was mostly at the forefront here. In addition to the dope production, almost every song is a banger in some form. And speaking of his sophomore album, it has been my favorite Redman album for years now. I definitely gotta officially name Muddy Waters as my favorite album from him, with There's a Dark Side a strong second. Muddy Waters is such a fast-paced album without sounding rushed at all, and it was certified gold within 2 months of his release, like There's a Dark Side before it. I hope Red still releases the sequel, even though it's a tough act to follow. Classic. Now, I'm going to talk about that towards the end as well regarding the sequel. Within recent times, I have went back and forth regarding which Redman album is my favorite. Now, right now, if you ask me, I'm probably going to say Muddy Waters. But then tomorrow, I could turn around and say what the album. And then the day after that, I could turn around and say There's a Dark Side. So I'm still undecided right now. And who knows, I might come to some sort of conclusion at the end of this session. But when you having discussions like that in terms of trying to decide which is your favorite album from a certain artist, that means they're capable of not just great material, but you know you're dealing with great material, and you know you're dealing with a true talent when even after all these years you can't decide which of their albums is your favorite. And even when you do pick one, you could change it up tomorrow. I mean, it just defines greatness. All right, and speaking of greatness, we're going to go to another Source magazine issue. This one is from February 1997 with Foxy Brown and Lil Kim on the front. Man, I remember when I got this from Young Supermarket back in the day. Yep, Petersburg, Virginia. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, they did a review of Muddy Waters in this issue. They gave it 4 mics, which is quite low, just like it was quite low for them to give There's a Dark Side 4 mics. This was written by Marcus Reeves, and I'm going to read this one verbatim. Def Squad Lion Redman has no problem blazing up the path between mainstream and the underground with his third Reggie Noble versus Alter Ego installment, Muddy Waters, slightly lodging the effort between the musical, lyrical cohesiveness of 1992's What the Album and the rhyme inventiveness of 1994's There Is a Dark Side. Redman comes to groove with the masses, but he'll be damned if it's easily digestible for everyone. This fascination with forging new lyrical horizons left many fans baffled and disillusioned when Red zoomed spaceward with the Gold Southern There's a Dark Side. Now, let me stop right there. Now, it might have turned a few people off, but not a lot, because that album still ranks highly in his discography. I just talked about it. It's a great album. So it didn't leave me baffled or disillusioned, so I do disagree with that. All right. Continuing on, aside from the consistently gloomy, overstrip arrangements and cryptic space talk, Red took the path of Mothership pioneers Sun Ra and George Clinton, switching his style in defiance of complacency. The steady, bubbling syncopation on what flipped to a furious flow of hazy metaphors and punchlines, best demonstrated on cuts like The Journey, Cosmic Slop, and Green Island. Passionate about strictly taking the underground to new heights, Red publicly forewarned that Dark Side wasn't made for everyone, especially the radio. Now, how many rappers can do that shit and still sell units? Well, the name Redman sold that album. Can't Wait sold that album. Can't Wait did hit the radio a little bit, and it hit BET. Rockefeller was another single. I don't think it was on the radio like that, but Can't Wait was. Waters continues in the same expansive vein, coming down a notch on the comprehensibility meter in order to deal with earthly issues, some of which have been consistent from Jump Street. Redman blazes for the Weed Tokens and Smoke Buddha with this wispy loop of Rick James's Mary Jane. New Jerusalem is massively represented on cuts like On Fire and the Red produced Creeping. And let's not forget the third episode of Superman Level with the surprise ending. You'll definitely bug. No question about that. But it's when rallying self-fulfilling causes that Red is most open, displaying maturity as a producer. He resurrects his political commentator skills from 92 on the Police Worry, What You Looking For, the spiritually swaying Whatever Man Finds, the Funk Doctor flying his smoky flag for the underachiever, groovable cuts like Pick It Up and The Bump, syllabically mowed down underground perpetrators. Man, syllabically, you don't hear that word every day, but let's keep it moving. And swooping down on champagne sipping MCs, and yes, y'all, Red humorously blasts that he's blacking out wild, smacking out weeds, breaking niggas' cheap ass gold chains and medallions. Simple beat rhyme frameworks also yield a tour de force when Red trades verses with erstwhile squad mate K Solo on the shamelessly banging It's Like That, My Big Brother. Even without the radio accessibility of a hook, the song took off through FM airwaves. His post-high debut with Method Man, produced by the Fugees' Prize, may not be so lucky, as the censorship crowd might not take too kindly to some of Red's gems throughout this song. But with Red, you never know. To close, he says, as usual, the production wizardry is helmed by squad elder Erick Sermon, smoothing out the funkadelic soundscape with swirling keyboards and simmering kicks while maintaining a sinister feel with ominous thematic bass drones. The sonic approach creates a dance floor friendly vibe which seems perfectly appropriate for the Funk Doctor Spot's return to Dryland, although Sermon had just pushed a tad more for the variety of manifesting on what the end result would be perfection. But through all the murky travels, Red can still take what's given to him and aim for higher ground. Okay, cool. So next up, we go to album number 4, Doc's the Name. This was released on December 8th, 1998. Getting right to the highlights, we got Let the Monkey Out, produced by Erick Sermon. I got zits on your face that can't wait to bump. Running nose every time Doc exchange a blow. Right on. So Red sure knows how to deliver a slamming opener, and when you think of prior openers, time for some action, bob your head to this, and is he for real? You could definitely add Let the Monkey Out to that list of tight openers. Also, the monkey sounds were a nice touch, oddly enough. 5 out of 5 for this one. I'll Be That, produced by Rock Wilder. I stay in front like handicap parking. Now, I think he said I stay up front like handicap parking, but either way, it's still the same thing here. The hook here is funny as hell, but make no mistake about it, this is classic Redman, 5 out of 5. Here we go to Get It Live, produced by Erick Sermon. If the bangers continue, in this case, a 5 out of 5 one, as Red brings the lyrical muscle to this one, full of punchlines. Here we go to the next highlight, Jersey Yo, produced by Reggie Noble, co-produced by Govmatic. Redman delivers a worthy remake of Ice Cube's classic Once Upon a Time in the Projects. And y'all remember Once Upon a Time in the Projects from the America's Most Wanted album. And yes, I am going to get to that album at a certain point. Just wait. 4 out of 5 for that one. Then we got Close Your Doors featuring Double O, Tame, Diesel Don, Roz, Govmatic, and Young Z, produced by Erick Sermon. Red doesn't make an appearance here, but he gives the spotlight to fellow MCs known as the Brick City. All involved do a good job with their verses, but man, Tame absolutely steals the show. 4.5 out of 5. I Don't Care, produced by Erick Sermon, co-produced by Reggie Noble. I was going to give a more detailed reason behind this song, but I went against it. It's a fairly dope, aptly titled song to be sure, and Red makes it clear, complete with well-timed audio too and Noriega samples where he doesn't care about. And can you blame him? 4 out of 5 for this one. Keep On 99, produced by Erick Sermon. Other than an out-of-place NWA sample, courtesy of She Swallowed It, this is a smooth banger. 4.5 out of 5. And I think that's probably why I didn't give it a 5 out of 5, because of that NWA sample. We All Right, Y'all, featuring Method Man, produced by Erick Sermon. Well, put Red and Meth over a tight Erick Sermon production and you get hip-hop greatness. 5 out of 5. And this hip-hop greatness was also on that first Blackout album too. All right, then we got The Goodness. And remember when I said we was going to come back to The Goodness? Well, here we are. Featuring Busta Rhymes, produced by Reggie Noble. Simply put, 2 dope verses by Red and equally dope verse by Busta, a tight beat. This was goodness all around. 5 out of 5. And I have a friend, one of my friends from back in school, we still talk today. He was crazy about that song too. He may not have listened to a lot of Redman, but he really liked that song, y'all. All right, then we go to the next one. Produced by Erick Sermon. Odd song title aside, this was pretty good, with Red even throwing some bits and pieces in regarding when he first wanted to get into hip-hop. 4 out of 5. I'm just a grown man doing grown man shit. Redman, rock the house. Next up, DOGS, produced by Erick Sermon. In true Redman fashion, this is a shout out to all the homies and fellow MCs for what they do best. 4 out of 5. Then we get part 4 in the Superman Lover series featuring Dave Hollister, produced by Reggie Noble. Although this 4th part was dope, it doesn't hold a candle to the previous 3. Less of a story this time around, but that's not a knock on an otherwise dope song. So I gave that one 4.5 out of 5. So my ending thoughts, while not on the level of his first 3 albums, this is another excellent album in Redman's discography, and it's almost never talked about. It is his most underrated. Now, is it his most underrated? It's possible, but then again, we still have a few more albums to go to make that determination. Lyrically, he was still on point, and the production, while still dope, was a small step down from his previous albums, with 4 straight 5 out of 5 rated songs, and most of the others clocking in at 4 out of 5 or better. I have no problem upgrading the rating from my initial 4-star rating to a solid 4.5. The success for Red also continued as this album went platinum within 2 months of his release. There still was some success, and he was still getting bigger in the process. Now, I also say this now. This album and the previous 3, when the Source magazine did their year-end review issues, all 4 of these albums appeared on those lists. So that says a lot right there. And this album, sadly, was the last time that the Source will make that determination. But let's keep it going. Next up, we get Malpractice, album number 5. This was released on May 22nd, 2001. And a fun fact about this, I initially bought this album on September 11th, 2001. And yeah, everybody remembers that day. And I also bought Jay-Z's The Blueprint, which was released on that same day as well. So Yeah, even though a lot of stuff was going on in our country at the time, I still had to get my music. And I remember buying it from Circuit City the same day, y'all. Just wanted to throw that in there. Let's get to the highlights here. Jiggy Doc, produced by Eric Sermon. After a silly intro, we kick things off here in a dope way as Red remakes one of DOC's classics, The Doc and the Doctor. Although it doesn't come close to the original, Red still does a damn good job. 4 out of 5. All right. So then the next highlight is Liquor Shot, produced by Eric Sermon. Red was spitting on this one, mostly punchlines, little to no humor, straight dopeness. It was also a good lead into the next song, 5 out of 5. And the 5 out of 5 highlights continue. This one is Let's Get Dirty. I Can't Get in the Club, featuring guest vocals by DJ Cool. Shout out to DJ Cool, produced by Rockwater. I like this one more and more each time I listen to it, and it's probably one of Red's most underrated songs. If someone like Red can't get into a club, this is what you get. DJ Cool's energy on the hook adds a lot to this too. 5 out of 5. The next highlight here, another 5 out of 5 highlight. Real Niggas featuring Scarface, Tretch, Molly G, also known as Jamal and Akaris. Produced by Eric Sermon over a thumping Eric Sermon beat. All 5 MCs blessed this one, especially Scarface. And considering the role he was on at this point, it was no surprise he came with lyrical heat for this. 5 out of 5. And this was after he dropped the Last of a Dying Breed album in 2000. Produced by Socrates. Smooth little joint right here. I almost called this a cool down moment. 4 out of 5 for this one. The next highlight here, another 4 out of 5 one. This is Enjoy the Ride, featuring Method Man, Street Life, and Socrates, produced by Diverse. This is one hell of a ride right here, and everyone brings it over a nice, diverse beat. So then we got another 4 out of 5 highlight, produced by DJ Twins, Motherfucker. In true Redman fashion, he ends every line here with motherfucker, and it's all over the hook too. Have I also said this man has a way with words too? I'm pretty sure I did at some point. Then we got the next one. So Dogs 2 featuring DMX. Rest in peace to DMX, aka Earl Simmons. Missed that guy. Produced by The Mascot. I'm a DMX fan too, so you know I like this joint with Red. Call me crazy, but I'm deducted 5 points because X didn't kick a verse on this one. And yes, this was the sequel to Dogs from Docs the Name 2000. 4.5 out of 5 for this one. Next up, we got Superman Level Part 2. Well, Superman Level 5 Part 2. Part 2 was nothing really to speak of. Part 1 was nothing to really speak of, so that's why I just shifted to Part 2, because that's when the overall song kicked in. And overall, produced by Eric Sermon, 5 was very good, but I did feel like something was missing from it. It's 4 out of 5, but I still kept it on as a highlight. And then next up, we get the last highlight on this album, Smash Something, produced by Adam F., co-produced by DJ Destruction. This is one aptly titled Closer, and when on the mic, Red indeed smashes things, so get out of his way. 4 out of 5. And I think that was the second video from this album, too. I only seen it a couple of times. All right. So my final thoughts on this one. Although Let's Get Dirty made a little noise in 2001 when compared to his previous albums, Malpractice was almost on no one's radar when it dropped. And again, you can attribute that to the changes hip-hop was encountering even back in 2001, mostly heading towards a more commercial side, plus the South was silently beginning its dominance, for better or worse. We still have 2 more solo albums to get to before I determine which is his most underrated. Overall, Malpractice is a damn good album, and with 3 songs clocking in at 5 out of 5, 1 at 4.5 out of 5, 10 with 4 out of 5 ratings, and the rest coming in at 3.5 out of 5. That all but jumps this rating up from 3.5 stars to a solid 4-star rating. Plus, the success continued as this album was certified gold almost 2 months to the day it was released. And if you haven't played it in a long time, revisit it, you may find yourself liking it more than you did when you first heard it. All right. Next up, we have this one. So basically Redman took more or less a hiatus before we got to this album. Now he was still doing guest appearances. You know, him and Red had the How High movie, which I never seen. I don't care to see it. I think they also had like a short-lived TV series to go with it. I never seen that either. We get to this one here, Red Gone Wild. Release date March 27, 2007 or 2007. Yep, album number 6. So we jump right into the highlights here. We got Fire featuring and produced by E3. Dope intro to start things off as Red does spit fire over a tight, slowed up E3 track. 4 out of 5 for this one. Back in the Building, produced by Adam Deach and Chris Pinsett. Much like Fire, Red wastes no time, showing that even if it had been a few years since his prior solo album, he hadn't lost a step, and that's clear on this banger. 4 out of 5. The 4 out of 5 bangers continue with Put It Down, produced by Timbaland. It certainly had been quite some time since Red had done this thing over a Timbaland track. Red puts it down here, 4 out of 5. Now, in case you're wondering, the last time that Redman had rocked on a Timbaland track was on Missy Elliott's The Real World album, which came out in 1999. An album that I haven't played in so long. I mean, I have Missy Elliott's first album, but I never got my hands on The Real World. So knowing me, I might go on eBay and see if I can get a copy of it just because, but we'll see about that. All right. Next up, we got Gimme One, produced by Pete Rock. I bet most have forgotten that this exists or probably never heard it. Like the joint with Timbaland, it had been a long time since Red had blessed a track produced by Chocolate Boy Wonder, Pete Rock. And this is about as dope as you would expect. 5 out of 5 for this one. How You Like That, produced by featuring Govmatic, produced by Rockwilder. This was another fast-paced selection, this time assisted by Govmatic. Pretty good, and I like Rockwilder's beat for this one too. 4 out of 5. And the 4 out of 5 bangers continue with Freestyle, produced by Scott Storch, who at one point was a sought-after producer too. But something happened with him. I think he filed for bankruptcy or something. Don't quote me on that, but something happened to a point where he's not even producing anymore like that. But okay. Hopefully, wherever he is, he's doing okay. Whether Red freestyle this or not is irrelevant. It's still dope. And when you listen to it, you do get the legit vibe that it's an actual freestyle. Walk-In Gutter featuring Eric Sermon, Keith Murray, and Biz Markie. Rest in peace to Biz Markie. Produced by Eric Sermon. And I know with Biz Markie on the hook, we get more good moments when the original Def Squad gets on the track together. 4 out of 5 for this one. What You Gonna Do featuring Melanie Rutherford. Eric Sermon used the same Love Unlimited Orchestra Midnight Groove sample on Last Man Standing from the EPMD album Back in Business, which I will talk about on this channel. And this same sample is nicely worked here, along with the usual dope lyrics from Red and a nice hook provided by Miss Rutherford. 4 out of 5. Right Now, produced by Eric Sermon, a well-timed Al Green sample, plus a banging track provided by Mr. Sermon. Punchlines on display from Red. This is damn good. 4.5 out of 5. Next highlight, Blow Trees featuring Method Man and Ready Rock, produced by Watts. I could have done without the Southern style hook, but it's a good song, one I'm sure the smokers enjoy. 4 out of 5. Okay, so here we go. Low points on a Redman album. Hold This Blow, this was okay, but nothing you find yourself revisiting multiple times. All right, so I'm gonna do this real time. Mary Jane is a highlight, featuring Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg, produced by Rockwilder. This one is smooth and dope at the same time, and it was a damn near perfect choice for a guest spot from Snoop and a good hook from the late Nate Dogg. Rest in peace, Nate Dogg. So 4 out of 5 for this one. Gilla House Check. Man, I could have sworn I'd done these edits, but okay. Produced by The Mascot. This is dope, and I love the lyrics and the production. I was also picturing Jay-Z, Beanie Siegel, and Ghostface Killah all on this track with Red because it seemed like a beat that those three would work wonders over, just like Red. 4.5 out of 5. Then we go to the next set of highlights here. So let me just go ahead and do this because I thought I did it at first. Superman Level 6 Part 1 featuring Hurricane G, E3, and Melanie Rutherford, produced by Eric Sermon. I said the overall score would be posted at the end of the next part. Now, here we go with Hurricane G. Now, I'm going to read this verbatim just like the majority of this. I said that although she's easy on the eyes, I respect her for the contribution she's made with the Def Squad and I like the role she played on this part, 6. But with all due respect, in my view, she almost adds nothing to any song I've heard her on, and I don't mean that as disrespect, just my opinion. Red, of course, does his thing as Superman lover, plus Eric Sermon puts a simply funky twist on Curtis Mayfield's classic Give Me Your love song. Then we go to Superman Lover 6.5 featuring Hurricane G and Melanie Rutherford. This was a good ending for part 6 featuring another dope beat, this time by Omen. Overall, I'll go with the 4.5 out of 5 for this installment of the Superman Lover series. It was close to a 5 out of 5. All right, now my ending thoughts on this one. This album was slightly better than I remembered. Red still brought his usual dope lyrics over type production. However, that's about it here. It was also quietly released in 2007, and with one song clocking in with a 5 out of 5 rating, the Pete Rock produced Give Me More, a couple of 4.5 out of 5 ratings, plus respectable ratings for the other songs. This album is still solid enough to remain at 4 stars. And keep in mind, it does slow down a bit towards the end, and it picks right back up too. Another notable bit is that while previous Redman albums sold very well, including Blackout with Meth, to date, Red Gone Wild, the album has moved 44,000 copies, which can be attributed to issues with the promotion and an ever-changing hip-hop scene. I guarantee you that the album has probably been streamed more times than it sold in physical copies. You know, what are the odds? Next up, we head to album number 7, Reggie, released on December 7th, 2010. So we're going to get right into the highlights here. That's Where I Be featuring DJ Kool. And again, shout out to DJ Kool. DJ Kool has been putting in work for damn near 40 years, I think. And I think he's still doing shows across the country now, but probably mostly in DC, I think. You know, so shout out to that brother, man. Produced by Ty Fife and Ephraim Fame Rodriguez. No matter where he is, Red is all over the place, and that's clear on this tight song and a damn good way to follow that intro. 4 out of 5. Next up, we got another 4 out of 5 highlight, Full Nelson featuring Ready Rock, Socrates, and Runt Dog, produced by Tone Mason. Auto-tune hook aside, this was dope. And anytime Red's Gilla House proteges, in this case Rock and Socrates, are on the track with him, they seem inspired and energetic. 4 out of 5. Now, that's always a good thing. If you can't get energetic and inspired with your leader, then I don't know what to tell you, because your leader should be able to bring that out to you. All right, so next up, we got All I Do featuring Faith Evans, produced by Freak. I'm usually an admitted sucker for songs where the artist talks about his or her love for hip-hop, and this is no different, and Faith was nice on the hook too. 4 out of 5. Next highlight, another 4 out of 5 one, Cheers featuring Ready Rock and Melanie Rutherford, produced by M Phases. Cheers to hip hop, that's the theme for this one. 2 dedications to hip hop on one album is not a bad thing at all. 4 out of 5. Rockin' with the Best, produced by 360. This was very good, especially with the Kool Moe Dee vocals on the hook. Red came with the punchlines too, hence the song's title. 4 out of 5 for this one. And then we go with another highlight, Light One with Your Boy, featuring Method Man and Bun B from UGK, produced by Mr. Pyro and the Audibles. Look at this song title. Do you really have to ask what this song is about? Like I always say, the type to end a song like this, the smokers should love this one. This is the best song on the album. 4 out of 5. And then we close things with the highlights, Tiger Style Crane, produced by the Fire Department. The title of this closer would suggest a Wu-Tang style track, and that's exactly what this is. Dopeness. 4 out of 5. Low points. We haven't had that many low points on Redman's albums, y'all, which is good. So then we go to Lift It Up. This sounded like Red was aiming for something to hit the radio, and it didn't. It's not whack by any means, but rather than said this was nothing we haven't heard before, something was missing. Then we got mic, lights, camera, action. Rock Wilder's beat was almost a little too futuristic, if there was such a thing, even for 2010. This was okay, but nothing more. Then When the Lights Go Off. Again, this is another one of those songs where it's okay and nothing more. So then my final thoughts going into this album, Red stated that there would be more popish type songs than his usual rough and rugged offerings, and to a certain extent, I agree with that. You'll also notice that there was no production from Eric Sermon, no humorous skits, or a seventh installment in the Superman Lover series. Does that affect this album in some form? It does, but not in a major way. I may have shortchanged the album just a little bit because while it's not on the level of any of his previous albums, it's not as bad as people may have said. It's very good, but not excellent, which results in a solid 3.5-star rating. We have What the Album, There's a Dark Side, Muddy Waters, Docs the Name 2000, Malpractice, Red Gone Wild, the album, and Reggie. So that's 7 albums right there. So what has Redman been up to after the Reggie album? Well, let's take a look. This joint right here, this was a mixtape. Now, I remember when this dropped, and I remember downloading it, but I only played it once. I think I may still have it on my computer, but if I don't, I may download it again and listen to it for the first time in almost, 16, 17 years. And a couple other songs off the Reggie album was on this mixtape, and I think this was probably one of the last mixtapes that he ever dropped too. And Pancake and Syrup, that's a real interesting title for a mixtape. Okay, Mudface. This is actually the last solo album that Redman has released. I have the iTunes MP3 version of the album because I remember purchasing it back then. Now it's dope, it's a little fast paced. I would give it 4 stars. Definitely going to show that in my ratings and rankings towards the end. But this is a damn good album, y'all. It got a couple of songs on there I like, and it was slept on when it came out. Based on what I saw on the Discogs.com website, there was a CD that was released to this. Now, if it was on CD, I would have it, but I never seen a physical release for this. I went on eBay. Well, I went on Amazon first. Didn't see anything on Amazon. They just have the MP3 version of it. And looking at this title, I'm just noticing that in his frames. You see that in his frames right there? I'm just noticing that. But anyway. So I went on eBay. There's a physical copy on eBay. But check this out, y'all. And I don't even think the copy that I seen was brand new. Not only is this in the United Kingdom, but look, the seller is charging $319.07. And the shipping is $60.09. Okay, I got mad love for Redman, but I am not paying that much money for anybody's album. I don't care what it is. Now, I don't know how much that is in American dollars, but even seeing $319.07 and $60.09 in shipping handling, no, y'all can keep that. And like I said, I don't even think it was officially released physically in the US, because at this point in 2015, we were still slowly but surely transitioning to a more streaming based society. So that's where it was then, and that's where it is now. But if I do happen to locate the CD for a good price, I add it to my collection. But $300 and some, y'all can keep that. Now, this is the last thing that he's put out. This was 3 joints. Now, this was released straight to Spotify and I believe some other platforms. And I remember checking it out, and it's dope. It's dope as hell for 3 joints. I'll tell you that. This was released on January 10th, 2020, 2 months before the pandemic, y'all. So this was dope. And as a matter of fact, I may go back and revisit that joint too. But yeah, this is what Redman has been up to since the Reggie album. Basically, where we are now is that, Redman, he's still active in some form. I'm patiently waiting for the sequel to Muddy Waters, which was titled Muddy Waters 2 Even Muddier. I'm not sure what things stand with that, but as a fan, a long-time fan, I would love to see it. Now, is it going to be better than its predecessor? Of course not, but it still can be damn good. And I want to make a prediction. That's probably going to be his best material since Docs the Name, or even Malpractice, if you want to take it back that far, but we still looking for it, Redman. So if this gets to you, let us know what's going on with the sequel to Muddy Waters. We still waiting for it. So hopefully we get it soon. And then, of course, like I talked about in the Method Man post, still waiting on Blackout 3, somewhat 15, 16, 17 years after Blackout 2. We still waiting for it. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? We come to the end of the session, y'all. Like I said, Redman, my number 8 favorite MC of all time. And these are the Funk Doc final ratings and rankings here. And this shouldn't be no surprise to any of you all. What the album is at the top, 5 stars, followed by Muddy Waters at 5 stars. There's a Dark Side, 4.5 stars. That's the Name 2000, 4.5 stars. Then Malpractice, Red Gone Wild, and Mudface each get a respective 4 stars. And Reggie, 3.5 stars. So definitely the average rating of a Redman album is what, 4.5 stars or 4 stars maybe, but definitely excellent discography from top to bottom. I still listen to everything after Muddy Waters, but make no mistake about it, when I listen to Redman these days, it's definitely the first 3 albums, bar none. But when I throw on his playlist, which is also with Meth, you know, and I do a shuffle, yeah, I still listen to everything else, but make no mistake about it, them first 3 albums, that's where it is. And with that being said, y'all, we have come to the end of another Top 10 MC session. This one focusing on Redman. So, man, if this gets to you in some way, I just want to say thank you for all of your contributions to hip hop since 1990. Thank you for the humorous moments. Thank you for the serious moments. Thank you for those Brick City bars, man. Definitely appreciate it. Your place in hip hop is definitely etched in stone. You're etched in stone in my top 10. So again, thank you for the memories. Thank you for the classic material. Thank you for linking up with Method Man as well. Definitely one of the top duos in hip hop history. Y'all still got that good chemistry with each other. Both of y'all will remain in my top 10. So again, thank you for everything since hardcore. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And on that note, y'all, we're going to end it right there. If you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button. And let me know your thoughts on this video. Let me know what you think about Redman and his discography as well as everything else that he's done in his career. Let me know your thoughts. You know, your favorite Redman song, your least favorite Redman song, your favorite Redman album, the most underrated Redman album. Let me know what you think in the comments. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until the next Top 10 MC session, which is going to be KRS-One, take care of yourselves. And yes, Funk Doctor, as I kiss the sky.